Ready? Okay, we're here today because we have information to release about the tragic death of Jesus Huertas. First, I'd like to extend my condolences to the family and friends of Jesus Huerta. Jesus Huertas was stopped by officers, Officer Samuel Duncan, in response to a runaway call. Soon thereafter, it realized that Mr. Jesus Huertas had a warrant for his arrest. Officer Duncan first searched and handcuffed Jesus Huertas and placed him in the back of a patrol car, transporting him to headquarters in order to serve the warrant. Upon arrival at headquarters, Officer Huertas heard what we now know was a gunshot from the back seat of the cruiser. He jumped out of the cruiser. The car continued rolling and came to stop against a van in the parking lot of headquarters. Officers responded to the vehicle and soon found that Jesus Huertas had what we now know through the autopsy reports, a gunshot wound to the head. Officers called for medical assistance, but unfortunately, Jesus Huertas died in the backseat of the cruiser. In the cruiser, they found that a handgun in the car, and Jesus Huertas was still handcuffed from behind. The gun was not a police officer's gun, and none of the police officers fired their weapon. It appears that Jesus Huertas suffered a self-inflicted gunshot wound while handcuffed in the back seat of this police car. And although it's unusual, unfortunately, it's happened in a few other jurisdictions. We cannot say whether this gunshot wound was intentional or whether it was accidental, and we may never be able to tell. We'll continue to cooperate with the State Bureau of Investigation, and I've got no specific timeline as far as the completion of this investigation. Again, our condolences go out to the Huertas family. Any questions?
Chief, you said that you would not be able to determine, or you may never be able to determine whether this was intentional or accidental. A review of the 911 call shows that a relative did call and suggested that Mr. Huerta had attempted to take his own life in the past. Is that a factor in this investigation?
Out of respect for the family, at this point in time, I'd prefer not to comment relative to his state of mind or what he was thinking at that point.
Follow-up question, Chief, if possible. ABC 11 was able to obtain a citation of a 17-year-old that was with Mr. Huerta before he was taken into custody. Is that teenager a part of the ongoing investigation, the internal affairs investigation?
I would think that he'll be interviewed at some point, and if he hasn't.
Chief, one thing I'm confused about the gun that was found in the car. So when he was searched, there was no weapon found on him?
At this point in time, we're investigating the nature of the search and also investigating the information surrounding the firearm. Okay, thank you very.
So do we know if the firearm was owned by DPD?
It was not a Durham police handgun.
Do we know whose handgun it was?
That's part of the investigation that's ongoing to determine how that gun may have gotten there and whose it may have been.
Chief, if you'll allow 2 more questions. I think the community would like to know, how does something like this happen? If he was searched, if he was handcuffed, how does this happen?
I think that you'd have to research and find how it's happened in other areas where they have video, where they have a lot of things relative to how something like this can occur. You'd be surprised what an individual handcuffed behind their back can do. In my career, in my experience, I've had individuals who lit up cigarettes and smoked them while handcuffed from behind. You'd be surprised what can be done.
Is it, and I don't want to put words.
This is the second question.
Correct. And I don't want to put words in your mouth. I realize it's a sensitive situation. But would it be accurate to say that this never should have happened?
It's accurate to say that young men shouldn't die at such a young age, no matter how it happens. But unfortunately, this did occur, and we're doing what we need to do at this point in time to properly investigate it, get to the bottom, and hopefully for the future that it not happen.
Chief, go ahead. Oh, I'm sorry. To clarify, he had been searched.
He had been searched by the officer, yes.
Chief, just a question with the family. We understand they have these petitions that they handed in yesterday. They also refused a meeting with you. Is there any, can you update us at all about you're talking with them at all as this investigation goes on?
I'm not involved in that at all. That's something they did with the FBI, and that's something the family's done, so I've not been involved. I've not seen the petition. That's not been given to me.
Ladies and gentlemen, there will be one more question, just one.
Yes.
Chief, if he was searched and there was no gun found, where did the gun come from?
At this point in time, that's part of the investigation. Hopefully at the end, we'll be able to find out how that gun got there.
Would it be safe to assume then that it was in the car?
It's never safe to assume.
Was it in the car?
Was it in the car prior to? That would be part of the investigation.